Ever since I started learning foreign languages over around 10 years ago, I've been increasingly interested in the world of foreign cinema or art house cinema. And finally, I've just got myself into North Korean cinema. And I want to share that with you guys and also make it a little bit more accessible for you. So this is the start of a new series that I'll be doing, hopefully, a few videos on if you guys like them. Do let me know if you have any North Korean film that you're especially interested in or you'd like me to talk about or you want to know more about. Put it in the comments below. And otherwise, I'm going to take you through an interesting journey over the next few weeks, starting with the most famous North Korean film that we're about to get into in just 1 minute, and then moving swiftly onto the most bizarre, some foreign co-productions, and some really interesting creations. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you join me along this interesting journey. And of course, it is my first few film reviews, so if you have any feedback, do let me know. And before we get into The Flower Girl, which is what we will be talking about today, I want to say a thank you to my favorite people, the people who support this channel and keep it going. Thank you so much to my patrons. Just as a warning, I do record these a couple of weeks in advance before I publish them, and my patrons, they keep getting more and more. So I'm sorry if your name is not here right now and you are already a patron. You'll be in the videos in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much to Clark, James, Charles, Alex, Simon, James Hickman, and Masaki. Thank you so much. Once this list gets to 10, I may have to write them down instead and put them on the screen because my memory is not that good. Anyway, thank you so much. And without further ado, let's get into our first film on this North Korean film review series, The Flower Girl.
The film starts with the famous scene of Kotbun, the protagonist in this story, walking through a meadow of flowers to sell in the market. During this time, you get a nice look into traditional Korean houses, as well as the Korean dress, called the joguri. It's clear from the start that money worries are on Kotbun's mind as she leaves the market dejected from her few sales. She sees a fortune teller who sets the scene telling us Kotbun's difficult predicament. He reassures Kotbun, telling her that a noble man will come to their rescue and their mother's life will be saved.
아버지는 돌아가시고 오빠는 감옥에 잡혀가고 그런데다 어머니까지 앓고 있으니 거참 안 됐구나. 게다가 앞 못 보는 동생까지 있다지.
은희야, 순이야.
On her way home, we meet her sister Sunhui for the first time, who is eagerly awaiting her sister's return at the hill, a theme that will reappear later on in the story. And shortly after this, we're introduced to her mother, who is clearly ill and overworked, thanks to a mean boss and her need to look after her two children.
형님, 그 몸으로 아니.
It's clear from the beginning how much the two sisters rely on their sick mother for survival, as they await hungry for her return. It's here that we find out the flower money should go to buying medicine for their sick mother.
엄마가 쌀 먹고 오면 어떻게 하나?
이제 구해올 거야.
은희야, 곱한 돈으로 쌀 좀 사오면 안 되나?
순이야, 어머니 약을 살 때까지 배고파도 좀 참자.
Their house is simple and their desperation is clear. Kotbun clarifies the meaning of the fortune teller's word with her mother, and she reassures the family a noble man is indeed on their way to help. One thing I really like about the film that I didn't notice too much on the first time I watched it is the narration of Kotbun's thoughts via song. Listening and reading the lyrics, we can understand what Kotbun is thinking as if it's her singing it herself, and it adds another layer to the narrative. We're then taken back to better times and we discover what was the cause of their brother's imprisonment and younger sister Sunhui's blinding. I'm not going to show you here because I don't want to spoil it too much, but it is a key part of the story binding everything together.
예, 꽃분아! 넌 왜 서구만 있어? 어? 얼른 아이 내려놓고 듀란에 가서 고기 뺀이나 타오너라. 어서?
예, 꽃분아, 어서. 여기서 놀아라. 응?
It's clear that their brother's imprisonment, as the breadgiver of the family back in 1930s Korea, will have a big impact on the three women.
순이를 잘 돌봐라. 갓난 어머니, 우리 어머니를 부탁해요. 자, 두 마리요.
Kotpun is clearly a woman of pride, and it takes a hit several times during the story, seen in 2 consecutive events. She's reduced to asking for rice from the evil landlords who caused her grievances.
여기시고 가엾게 생각하시오. 이렇게 쌀을 주시는 것이니 그 은혜나 잊지를 마소. 다음은 김윤칠 영감네가 5마리요.
And she's looked down upon for her dirty rags when selling flowers.
Ma. 아이, 더러워.
After witnessing her mother slaving away in the dead of night, Kotpun runs in and takes over from her mother. And Kotpun, as ever, remains positive and motivated.
제가 꽃을 팔아서 어머니 병을 꼭 고쳐드리겠어요. 어머니 병도 낫고 오빠도 돌아오면 우리도 잘 살 수 있어요.
It's at this moment that Kotpun then witnesses the evil landlords beat up her mother as she drops a pan in exhaustion. And Kotpun is more determined than ever. With all good intentions to help her big sister after witnessing the struggles of them both, Sunhui too heads into town to sell flowers. After being largely unsuccessful, she decides to try her hand at singing. Kotpun's pride takes another hit here as she comes across her own sister, in her own words, begging for money. Halfway through the film, Kotpun finally manages to gather enough money for her mother's medicine, which seems to be ginseng, which the two then hurriedly and happily bring back into town. But on their way back, and spoiler alert, the worst happens, and they come back only to find the village folk in disarray at their mother's passing. Kotpun, now with a family to feed, makes the difficult decision to leave her little sister in the night in the care of one of the elders and to go the 175 kilometers to find their brother. Spoiler alert again, as a long journey later, and Kotpun is told that her one and only hope has also passed away, adding to one tragedy after another for Kotpun. And it seems as though she may just give up soon. She's picked up by some women as she collapses on her way back home, broken and defeated. And it seems here that not even her awful condition is enough to win the heart over of the landlord and to take pity on her.
그런데 이 처녀의 숙박비를 누가 물겠어?
Back at home, the landlord's wife, perhaps ill from being guilt-ridden of her bad treatment of the sisters over the years, lays ill with the sound of Sunhui calling for her sister at night as she awaits her return. Upon Kotpun's return, she is greeted with yet one more devastating bit of news as she finds her sister is missing after being taken away by the landlords in belief that she is the cause of the wife's harrowing ailments.
난 너를 생각해서 죽지 않고 살아왔다.
Kotpun is, of course, devastated, and she finally tips over the edge to get her revenge, which obviously doesn't go too well. But all is not lost. The brother, who is not dead and indeed very much alive, returns to the village after escaping prison some years ago. And through a bizarre turn of events, returns with Kotpun's sister, Sunhui, and an entire army of angry villagers sick of the bullying from the landlords. Kotpun, Sunhui and brother are reunited, and it's happily ever after, with a bit of anti-Japanese and anti-capitalist propaganda thrown in at the end too.
우리가 왜 이렇게 피눈물을 흘리며 살아야 하는지 너는 아직 다는 모를 게다. 그것은 우리에게 나라가 없는 탓이다. 원수 외놈들과 배지주 같은 놈들이 우리 조선 사람들을 못살게 굴기 때문이다.
And so that's it, A Flower Girl. After this review, will you go and watch it for yourself, or are you suitably satisfied knowing the start, middle and end and don't feel like you need to sit through it another couple of hours? Do let me know what you thought of my first film review in the comments below. I'm completely new to this, a complete amateur, although I have been very interested in the kind of foreign film industry for a long time now. So I'm very excited to be doing this series. Would love to hear some feedback from you, and I hope you tune in for the next one next time, which will be a very interesting DPRK, Belgian and British co-production. Can you guess which one it'll be? See you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye.